Hey, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back. We're here with the Wendigoon video, which are super long and extremely entertaining. He's a talented storyteller and just really gets you immersed. I love the way it feels like a lecture, so please support the original content. The link to his video will be in the description below. But hey, while you're here, stick around for this reaction and for daily uploads. I upload 2 videos every single day. I'm also live over on Twitch at Aliciaxlife. You're currently watching Aliciaxdeath, but I'm live over at Aliciaxlife. Now let's get it.
Everyone, so
Hi.
as you probably know at this point, I for one love horror. And one of the things that's so important for me in a horror setting is that of the setting itself. Most often horror like Friday the 13th or the Halloween series takes a setting we're all familiar with, and that's used as the basis for whatever the scare is. And then several of my favorite horrors, like the 1982 movie The Thing, take a setting that we can sort of relate to, like people at a research base, and then use that for whatever cosmic horror comes out of it. But I think it's especially interesting whenever a horror series creates...
I am really into like psychological thriller stuff. I actually watched The Ritual like a day ago, and they did it for like $1 million budget. That is so cheap compared to what they made with it. It amazed me. Like when I was watching it, my dad was like, "This doesn't really look like a movie." And I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "The quality's kind of bad." And I was like, "Oh, well, sometimes it's stylistic choices." And I was explaining. He's like, "No, it doesn't feel like a cinematic film." And I'm like, all right. So I pulled up the budget. I'm like, "Dad, it was made for only $1 million." His 65-year-old ass goes, "Wonder where the money went." God love him. What a sweetheart. What a sweetheart. Oh, that's so cute. He's a little movie critic. Come on, that's adorable. And he got so bored, I kid you not, that he started going on TikTok and scrolling. And they're like, "Dad, turn that off. We're watching a movie." He goes, "I don't like it." And then he took a nap. I tweeted about this, by the way. If you don't follow me on Twitter, it's Aliciaxlife VT. Always be plugging. He fell asleep. He scrolled on TikTok and fell asleep. I swear, the older you get, the more you return to baby. It's so cute.
Creates an entirely unique world that is so visceral and outside of our realm of understanding that just the thought of it in itself is enough to creep us out. And today I want to bring one of those horrors to you: Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. Now, this was originally started by an artist known as Trevor Roberts, who goes by Strange Vehicles on Reddit. And specifically, it began within the subreddit r/world building. It began as a sort of creative exercise of seeing how intricate or heavily put together of a world you could make. However, as you could see, Trevor went way beyond the average or what was required of him.
I love stuff like this. This is the reason why when we started the SCP deep dive and I started learning about like the basics of like how SCP works, the forum, like how everyone like builds their stories, it goes through approvals. Like when I started learning about all that stuff and how intricate it is, it really blew my mind. And I friggin' love that. Right? And that's cool to see it kind of like the same energy towards this subreddit.
And instead created this super expansive universe. That being of a now defunct national park that was made out of a living cave that is potentially a giant hundreds and hundreds mile long creature underneath the earth itself. Not only that, but Trevor was able to tell this story through a series of brochures and park guides that look like they would be standard of any national park. So there's not only creativity with the world itself, but also the manner in which information is given to us.
So it has like the sense of realism because it associates with what we know. We know what park like pamphlets look like. We know what like generic maps look like.
So today I want to go through some of the details and break down this entire ARG that Trevor has crafted. However, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get to every single minute detail, as cool as they all are. So I'm going to leave a link to the original website where all of this information is cataloged for you to find.
This video is an hour and 16 minutes long, and he still can't cover all the details. That's how you know this is so detailed, it's up the wazoo. This is so detailed, an hour and 16 minutes cannot hold it. Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool.
As the artist's Patreon and subreddit, because I'm telling you, this is some wild stuff, and you really need to check it out. And you know,
I'll link it in the video too.
Today's
description.
sponsor that allows you to save money while shopping for free. Because if you're like me, nowadays online shopping is pretty much all that you do. Like if there's a specific
Is the Honey
item that
sponsor?
I want, I just find it online for the best deal and have it sent to my house. And now those best deals can get even better with Honey. Honey
Nice.
is the online tool that scours the
I heard
internet
Honey
for
is
the
like a
best
really nice
promo
sponsor to get
codes
with.
available
I've never
and
been
helps
sponsored
you
by them, though.
save money on your order. Being the #1 shopping tool in America, it is seamless and easy to use. You can get Honey on your computer for free in just 2 easy clicks. Then all you got to do whenever you're at checkout is hit the apply coupon option, wait a few seconds as Honey scours the internet to find the best
I want y'all
promo.
to know, one time, listen, I was really, really broke a few years ago, and I really wanted to order a pizza, and Honey saved my ass. It found the most crazy ass coupon code known to man, and I got a big ass deal. It was wild. Anyways,
Promo codes and then apply it to your order.
It be
And if
saving
Honey
you
finds a
sometimes,
working
bruh. It be
code,
really
your
scouring
price will
for ya.
drop with no extra effort to you. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've been ordering pizza with friends and I'm about to
Yeah, it
do
was a
over the
clutch. It
phone,
actually
and they
was.
go,
I
"No
barely
way,
had enough to
let
buy
me
it."
do it on the laptop because whenever they get to the checkout,
That's crazy that he was like, look at that. He has a pizza on the screen. That's crazy.
Honey pops up, they hit apply, and then we get our pizza for $10 off. And it just doesn't stop there. Everything from shoes,
Wow, we
to
talked about the
tech,
same
to
moment.
video games, or whatever have you, Honey does its best to find codes that save you money at no charge to yourself. Take it
It's
from
like
me, as someone
faith.
who's used it
Okay,
before,
relax.
there's nothing more satisfying than whenever you're at the checkout to have your friend pat you on the shoulder and go, "Hey, you want to get $7 off that?" And of course I do. And just saving money as easy as can be. Haha, get it? B, honey. Anyway, so all that you have to do is
That was
go to
also
the link
precious.
in the description at joinhoney.com/Wendigoon.
/Wendigoon.
Put it on your computer and just start saving cash.
/Wendigoon
Once again,
if you're gonna put it right now on your computer.
/Wendigoon.
/Wendigoon.
I ask that you please use my link because it lets them know that I sent you and it helps me and it helps the channel and I really appreciate it.
Cool.
So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much to Honey for sponsoring the video. It means the most. I hope that you check it out. I hope you use the link in the description. I hope you all have a great day.
They need more international
We are
codes?
Back to the video, which is again 2 feet this way. So just cut back. So without further ado, we are going to
cute.
go ahead and break down the
Guess he did cut
horror
back.
of the flesh pit. But first of all, and as always,
Yep.
thank you for watching. So the story
Aw.
of Mystery Flesh Pit National
Thanks for
Park
having
is
us.
told very non-chronologically. Basically, Trevor will release these incremental posters and pictures that allow us to paint a picture of the world.
The flesh pit got hands. Look at those meaty ass fingers. Why the flesh pit got hands like that? Hey, why he got hands like that?
Together. So lucky for you all, I already did all that and believe I can track down what the first references to the park, or at least, you know, on a timeline, what the first references to the park can be. We'll break down more of the actual details of what the pit is like, as well as the quite literal anatomy of it later. But right now, we're just getting an introduction to how this thing came to be. In our first letter from James Jackson, also known as Jim Jackson, which we'll see more of later, he writes in a letter to Mr. Colton Fleming explaining the finding of this cave itself. The
Okay.
letter reads, "Dear Colton,
You feel like Wendigoon is always involved with cave shit. Right? He was in the Internet Historian video. Recently, him and Papa Meat had a video that talked about that cave or some shit. You guys are like, and now he's got a cave in this video. You know, like, is he in love with horror or does he love caves? Can y'all tell? Yeah, y'all showed me Papa Meat, so I've recently started watching his content. He's really funny. He's great.
Now you know more than most how I may be prone to hyperbole.
Yeah,
on
well, you guys showed
occasion.
me Meat Canyon, and then you guys were calling him Papa Meat, so I looked up Papa Meat, and then I saw his other channel. It's really good. Yeah, he's really funny.
But those Whitmer boys that called on Monday are on to something amazing. I mean really truly amazing. This isn't any mineral deposit, Colton. At least not like anything I've seen. I went ahead and sent some samples for you and Chris to start looking at. I didn't think you all would believe me if I didn't. This thing that those old boys found is some kind of organic deposit that must go down at least 500 or 600 feet by my reckoning. Not a fungus.
Is it sentient? That's what I want to know. Is it sentient? Oh, I don't want to.
This thing breathes and makes sounds same as any other creature, and
I hate
it bleeds. God, how it bleeds. Colton, it's a mess out here.
We'll see. Yep.
John and some of the others think it might be something from outer space. Most of the hombres we brought out to start the excavation
I appreciate y'all not spoiling. W.
and are
W
real
chat.
weary of going too close to what we figure must be the mouth of this thing.
Ah.
Right now, I don't think I care what it is or where it came from. I'm an oil man, and I think we're on to something real big out here. Once you and Chris start looking at these samples, go ahead and give Lenny a call to send out his crew, and make sure they bring at least 4 excavators. Pay them whatever they ask to make it fast. Also, there's a card in here for a fella in Carlsbad with some pretty heavy-duty spelunking gear.
I like how he mentioned I'm an oil man. This motherfucker got too much money. You feel me? He got big oil money. I don't give a shit. Pay him whatever, man. Got big oil money. Like,
Pay him
had to flex on
whatever
us
he
like that.
wants to get here by Friday or Saturday. I'll call Beverly to have her put out other jobs on hold for the next 3 weeks, but you should remind her anyway. We need to move.
you know what's depressing? I can't even say I got YouTuber money. You feel me? Because YouTuber money is a whole different scale. I got bottom feeder YouTube money. That's what I got. It's enough to live. It's enough for it to be my full-time job. But I ain't out here like, like YouTube money. You feel me? Give it time. W chatter. Actually, I love that. Give it time. I like that. I like that positivity. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be making bands. I'm gonna pop out babies and give them good futures. Give them shits a motherfucking I don't even know. I was gonna say scholarship money. Give those motherfuckers fully paid education. Let them be debt free when going into life. That's the dream. Actually, genuinely, that's the dream. Actually, make enough money so that when I have kids, they're not suffering from debt. that's all I really want out of life.
Move real fast on this. Dale Whitmer already left this morning to find someone in Gumption to come take some photos. It'll be a circus once that happens. God help us if the feds come out and lock it down.
Oh.
There's something about this thing that's important, and I don't want to see something this special get in the hands of some game warden.
Yeah.
Regards, James Jackson of Jackson Surveying Incorporated. So as you can see there, it seems that just a normal mining operation or oil drill...
Did you just say college debt ain't that bad? How much debt did you have from your undergrad? No, better question, where are you from? Like, if you're not from the US, sure. But for any good school in the US, like an actual good one, fuck. Like, no. Like, I'm not even talking about Ivy Leagues. I mean like a step below Ivy League. You know what I mean? Just like good ones. Yeah, the bad ones ain't that cheap either, true. I paid it off. It took 10 years, but I paid it off. It's not that bad. It just took me half the time of my life while accomplishing it to get it. Because you're like 20 while you're in uni. And then it took you 10 years to cover your debt. Half your life that you spent trying to get into university is what you spent paying for it. Like, that's the year sum, right? Like, does it not feel fucked up to you? Huh? Exactly, Lurker. God damn. Man, your brain gotta be real corrupted by your living condition to think that 10 years worth of school debt is okay. You know what? Like, come on. Like, this system is fucking you, and you're like, well, I guess it's okay. It used lube. No! No! Like, no, it's not okay. Yeah.
Operation came across this giant creature hidden underground. Now, Jackson was right as to say that this thing underground, whatever they walked into, was actually the mouth of it. Because, as we're going to see in a little bit, this thing has entire nervous systems, muscles, and stomach components. And it seems that
What's it eating? What's it eating?
This agape opening is in fact the mouth of this creature.
The gape opening is the mouth?
Now, before we get into a lot of the details or my favorite
It just eats grapes. It's just a big fan of grapes. It doesn't eat people. It's just fleshy and enjoys grapes.
the tourism surrounding the flesh pit, I need to go ahead and read the second letter from Jackson as to make sense of this. Dear Colton, things are really starting to take off down here. At around 3 or so last night, we broke.
Chaff and chat goes, better than the alternative opening. It's just this gaping asshole. The opening is just a gaping asshole.
A new depth record.
I'm so childish. I'm sorry. I'm 7 hours into stream right now. I'm a little wacky with it. I'm not high. I'm not inebriated. I'm just high on life.
100 feet vertical descent from the maw. It's a damn shame you and the other folks are so spooked by this pit.
I love his little accents here. It's great.
And it really is something else. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying it's easy. God almighty, is it tough getting around down in its gullet and such.
Its gullet?
A man's got to have an iron constitution or a mighty thick skull, and lucky me, the good Lord has seen fit to bless me with both.
Nice.
Some of the boys here have rigged up scuba gear, and we've been able to squeeze around down there with some effort. Giant muscles, giant bones, innards so big you could drive a trailer truck through.
Holy
Strange
shit.
critters scuttling around in the dark down there too. Big bugs and germs and worms and other queer things that you wouldn't believe. Some kind of crab thing the size of coyote.
Me, I'm the queer thing. I'm the queer thing inside of there. No, queer just means like different or like the exception, like odd things. Yeah, technically.
Crept out a week
I'm
and a half
trying to be
ago,
funny.
And we caught it crawling around the feed trailer.
Yeah, just
I got a
odd.
good look
Yeah,
at
exactly.
it before one of Dale's boys shot at it, and it skittered away. We
Yeah,
had the
yeah, I know. That's why I explained it after. But I made the joke and then I explained it after because like, there's some people who like when I make a joke like that, they're like, "Oh, Alicia, you don't get it. It's not about that." I did that for my One Piece reaction. I made the joke about Zoro, like I'm like, oh my god, Zoro with trans rights, let's go. Zoro recognizing like gender identities, right? Oh my god, Zoro said they, right? And I thought I was just being obvious of like, I thought I was being obvious in it. And then, like, my comment section was flooded with, no, that's not what Oda meant. No, you, why do you always have a gay agenda? And I'm like, bro, 3 notches down. Chill. It's not that deep. So now I have to explain every time I make a joke because some people, like, the amount of comments I got about it and I'm still getting is crazy. So I just like, okay, I just need to explain every time I make it like a joke.
funeral for the third roustabout to pass away this month on Tuesday. The papers are already talking gossip.
Oh no, I banned the person who said gay agenda. One person said that. I banned them because I was like, you're just fucking cringe.
And I'm hopeful that Bill and the other attorneys can keep the vultures and the feds at bay. People don't understand until they've seen it and been down inside it, Colton. We're pioneers and explorers here. This is good work. This is God's work.
Oh, damn.
Nobody knows what this mystery pit is or what it eats. or how long it's been here. We need some guys with real smarts, not oilmen. Doctors, scientists, and good decent folk who would have nothing to do with us. I'm mighty
Do you know what? I like the guy who's writing this letter, because he's like, I got a thick skull and a good constitution. I ain't gonna throw up in here, and I'm ready to go down, but my God, we need smarter individuals. I don't got it in me, bruh. Bring up some good folks. Like, it's just precious. He's just a nice guy. He's a nice guy exploring. Oh, where's my mouse?
glad
Okay.
that
Somewhere's
you've
on the
taken
screen.
responsibility for holding down the fort back home while I'm out here playing the cowboy. You're a good man, Colton. The kind of quality individual they don't make anymore. Maybe I'm hoping I can find some of that goodness myself someday. Maybe down in the belly of this beast. Give Samantha and the baby my regards. Jim Jackson. P.S. There's a company out of Fort Worth that I've called up to help with the exploration. I attached their card to this letter. Give their geologist a call and let them know the details. I'm told they're very good at what they do. And attached we see a business card.
Deep
for the
Earth
Anodyne
Mining?
Deep Earth Mining Company. Now,
Okay.
Anodyne's going to come up a lot because they're pretty much responsible for everything that happens after this point. So the pit was
okay.
discovered in 1973. And
Yep.
as Jackson talked about in the letter,
Was it the bite of 73? We've been doing a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's content. Leave me alone.
very quickly the local populace as well as the authorities began to grow interest in it because
Duh.
and one of the most interesting things about this story is the immediate rush of consumerism that happens surrounding the pit. See, initially it becomes a competition of what certain groups are going to do with it, but through what you can kind of pick up on as some government influence on Anodyne's behalf, they managed to get the park sanctified as a national park. What that means is that the park itself is treated in the same way the Smokies or Yellowstone would be treated, as in it cannot be destroyed by any newcomers coming in. However, it can be hosted by different companies like restaurants or lounges, and more importantly, Anodyne maintains access to the resources. So the main question is,
Imagine opening up a diner. Right next to it. Belly of the Beast Diner. You just serve the most gross slop. Like, you got sloppy joes, you got poutines, anything that looks sloppy as shit, that's what you use.
going in at this point is how big is the pit and what exactly did they do to it? And measurements of tissue as far down as they could see initially are about 30 kilometers, which
30?
again probably isn't even close to how deep it actually
Oh my
is.
God!
And charts like this one that have the original surveyor's mark show that they mapped it out down to about 4,000 feet. So in other words, it's pretty big. And if you'll pay attention to that part in the second letter, people are not the only creatures alive inside of the living cave itself.
Yeah,
As a
'cause they're
matter of
bugs
fact,
and
as you
other
can see on the
critters.
major parasitic fauna chart, there
Yeah.
are several massive creatures that people have to worry
Massive.
about. Like, for example, the abyssal sopapod. That's probably not how it's pronounced, but
If you got the term abyssal in your name, I'm good without it. The moment you got the term abyssal in your name, we're good. We're good. Yep.
whatever.
Sopapod.
Abyssal
When
College
I
Day.
initially saw this, I was like, oh, well, what is that? Like a really big beetle like that? And then I was reading in another entry about how they eat people and can grow up to 20 feet long. So in other words,
Oh.
a small school bus that eats people,
Oh my gosh.
which would mean all these other
I'm sure there's a fetish out there for that or something. Y'all ever see, like, I have, like, there's one VTuber I follow whose, like, fetish is, like, tall, large women stepping on him. So now I sometimes see it on my feed when he retweets it. And it's mad confusing. I don't... Alicia, it's Vor. It's... Oh, okay. Okay. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna just hit play. I don't know. Isn't that? What do you mean? Isn't that everyone? Okay, I'm just
Other
gonna.
creatures you can see there are probably much, much bigger than people are. Also, beneath several of these posts is a sort of explanation that goes into
Whoever
more
was typing a long ass thing in the chat, ready to explain it, delete it. Do not hit enter. We're moving on. We're watching the video. Delete it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Delete it. Backspace.
detail around whatever's being discussed. So underneath the bug chart, we can see in the description that it reads, "This chart and many others like it were produced by Park Service as an educational tool for use in classrooms, museums, and universities. Popular among
okay.
natural history enthusiasts, the illustrations featured on these posters were the result of an intensive expeditions and surveys into the mystery flesh pit. While visitors are almost certain to encounter common fauna, such as the myriad of macrobacteria subspecies, many organisms such as the Venice shamble and the abyssal sopopod, probably pronouncing that wrong again, tend to evade trails and hikes
Or we call it the cope pod. Copium.
in traffic areas, making them difficult to spot. As a practical tool, these illustrations were useful in training wildlife management rangers in proper firearm techniques for safely dispatching a dangerous organism. For this reason, the designers of this and other charts attempted to represent the scale of the organisms in relation to each other as accurately as possible. So
Okay.
if you're going into the pit, you better be strapped. And also, like, look at all the detail in these different
Someone said they're in Texas. They're good. Do you think even before going into the pit, they've been strapped? Alright? They come out the womb and are given a buck shotgun. Ready.
designs. Like, for example, the lesser sopopod, which looks like a giant tendril shrimp thing, and then the gastric bristleworm, which is huge and terrifying. And there's some more specific entries about some of the lesser known or lesser seen ones. Like, for example, here with the evolution of the amorphous shame pamphlet, which is presented as a sort of brochure.
Okay, this top one is a hold on. Let me zoom in for you guys for a second here. Hold on. All right. This top one, that's a cute little long floof. Okay? That's a cute little long floof. What the fuck? What the fuck? Long floof? What the fuck? Also, can we look at this one? What is this? Oh, chat's kind of covering it. Hold on. What the fuck? Mother, existence is painful. End my suffering. Mother, why am I born to die? Isn't that not what it would sound like? Jesus.
For people taking a hike through the trail, you can see the life cycle of something that is
Oh, they zoomed in
believed
for
to
you.
be an ancient descendant from a weasel that over time crawled into the
Existence is
cave
suffering.
and slowly lost so many traits of itself, it eventually just became a blob of organs.
Yeah, dude. It just changed up, bro. What the fuck?
That crawls inside of crevices in the flesh walls of the cave itself and just like absorbs the nutrients, which is and as you'll remember me mentioning earlier, the flesh pit itself became a national park, hiking and all, which means, as pictured on maps like this that show the orifice or mouth of the pit as well as an interior trail map, people would go on these very long excursions walking through the innards of this creature. And people could visit such amazing sights.
Would you do it? Would you walk inside of it? I don't. For $20 is crazy. You know, I got offered to base jump before. Because my friend's into base jumping, so he's gonna so there's it's kind of like a class thing you take for it. And I legit turned to him when he was talking to me about it and like how there's like certain levels of base jump training you have to do before you can do like the ones that he does. And I was like, motherfucker, God intended for me to be on the floor. If you put me up there, some fuck shit's gonna happen. Alright? Mm-mm. I don't got it in me, bro. I just don't. I don't really like. I used to like not. I used to have a really bad fear of heights. I'm totally over my fear of heights though. I'm really good about heights now, which is cool. It was really bad for me when I was like growing up into my teens even. Not anymore. I got bigger fears. But I just think of death a lot. You know? It's not even like a fear of heights. It's like why? Dude, if I want that much adrenaline or to get that high, fucking, I'll just do drugs. Right? Like a normal person. Right? Oh my god, the adrenaline's insane. Okay, cool. I'll just do something else, bro. I don't know. Like, come on. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. No, wait, stop. Don't do drugs. I don't condone drug use unless it's for fun. All right.
Such as the northern bronchial forest, which is the sort of lungs of this creature. The amniotic thermal springs, which is
actually, you know what Starson said? Do legal drugs when you're of age. Yeah. Do legal drugs when you are of age. That's correct. Yep. Think of the comments. This video's already demonetized. We're talking about a fucking flesh pit that like people are traveling in. Okay? We've said so much bad stuff in this recording. Like it's gone. We're gone. This video might get age restricted at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure I talked about how the government lubes us up earlier.
We are going to talk about in a minute the gastric sea, which is digestive enzymes.
Oh, yep.
Or the fondue village, which is bone.
Oh, do you know what, dude? The gastric sea being the digestive enzymes is so freaking gross.
Or the fondue village, which is bone marrow so large you can walk inside of it, which is a very comforting thought. And
can you eat the bone marrow though? Like, hear me out. Like, I eat bone marrow. Like, you can scoop bone marrow and like it can be like seasoned and stuff like that. It's pretty great. Can I eat that bone marrow though? Like inside of that? Like, am I just like walking through a taste test? I mean, no, I've eaten like regular bone marrow, like in real life. I'm talking about this creature though. Could we eat this creature's bone marrow? Could we do that? Same thing? Alright. Oh, I've eaten escargot. Yeah. I mean, snails are kind of dope. I had it like with garlic butter thing, I think. It's from a French restaurant that I went to. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I never had frog legs before, though. I've always wanted to try frog legs. I've never had them.
And some of the dangers that hikers through the park, and I'm going to continue.
I've never had
park,
whale steak.
But, you know, by park, I mean giant flesh underground monster thing. We can see in the wildlife safety pamphlet some of the things people hiking would have to worry about.
They have a safety pamphlet. I'm so excited for this. Hold on. Chat. Pause, champ.
Introduction. It says, your visit to the Mystery Flesh Pit can be a most pleasurable and rewarding experience, or it can be a time of vexation, distress, or even tragedy. Much depends on how you and your family observe these simple guidelines and avoid designated hazards.
My bitch of an ex-wife is trying to take the kids. How about we all go on a family trip? Come on, let's go as a family. I know the divorce is hard on us, but let's go check it out.
Take a minute to read these simple but important safety rules, then go on to a pleasant park.
No, not banging in the flesh pit. I meant like killing her in the flesh pit. Y'all horny as fuck. That's crazy.
experience. I also want to mention all of these pamphlets, as well as everything that I'm going to mention that's
The
been
pit saved my parents' marriage. Okay, that's just actually adorable. Never mind.
industrialized within the park has been done by the Anodyne Corporation. Visitors and
Can it be impregnated? If someone started fucking the walls, could it Can the flesh pit be impregnated? Wait, what do you mean, wait, what? Why are you acting like I'm crazy for that? No, screw you. Why do you think I'm crazy for that? That's not fair. That's... I'm just wondering if it's compatible. Probably not by humans. Okay, thank you. Okay? We can have a conversation about it. Okay, you watch me so that you can listen to my inside thoughts, okay? Don't act like you didn't know this coming into here, okay? Unless there's new viewers, then I'm so super sorry for this.
wildlife within the Mystery Flesh Pit often frequent the same areas within the park. It is likely that park wildlife and visitors will encounter one another, but by remaining calm and following the basic advice of experienced veteriobiologists, you increase the odds of a positive outcome for both yourself and the wildlife. All visitors who partake on self-guided excursions beyond reinforced and enclosed trails within the Mystery Flesh Pit are required to attend an orientation at the lower visitor center. During this orientation, a park ranger will inform you about areas that are closed to visitors due to high fauna activity or recent wildlife-human encounters.
Oh.
It is important to be aware when camping and hiking within the Mystery Flesh Pit to avoid...
You can camp within the flesh pit. Okay, I wasn't horny for the flesh pit. Okay, chat? Don't get it twisted. Okay? It's not that I'm horny for the flesh pit. I'm just wondering if it can reproduce. Okay? Because it has a nervous system, it has organs, it has like, it's, I don't know if it's sentient or not, but I'm just, okay, there's first time chatters in here, and most of you find me through YouTube anyways. You know what you're getting into, but you're walking in at a weird time. I just need you to know that. You're walking in at a weird time, but you do know what you're getting into because you watch me on YouTube, and nothing changed. Okay, we're gonna hit play.
wildlife foraging areas, chimal deposits, gastric bladders, surface wildlife carcass mounds, etc. So not only do you have to worry about the giant bug things that are essentially the...
You take your kids there. Okay, kids. Who wants to make a carcass castle? Like a sandcastle but with carcasses. All right. Whee!
this creature's immune system, but you have to worry about the creature itself digesting you. We'll talk about that in a minute, but a final thought on encountering these things. It says at the end of the pamphlet, if you see flora or fauna within the park and it does not appear to notice you, back out of sight and change your course. Move out of the area or quietly observe at a safe distance without approaching or otherwise disturbing it. Disturbance is evident whenever wildlife change their behavior because of you. If it stops eating and looks up / raises its antennas or secretes scent enzymes or begins making territorial clicks while trying to locate you, you are too close. While many life forms within the pit seem to be tolerant of human presence at a distance further than 200 yards, each creature is different. Use
I'm gonna be so real with you guys. Do you know how many dickhead YouTubers would die to this shit? I went into the flesh pits. It was crazy. We saw cool organisms that can kill people. Let's check it out. No one's been this close to one before. Natural selection would eat their fucking ass.
telephoto lenses and endoscopes where possible. Allow migrating bacterial colonies to pass by your camp undisturbed, If you have made sure that the wildlife is aware of your presence,
Okay.
so it is not surprised, and have kept all your gear under your direct control, allow any organism you encounter to travel unhindered. You may just be afforded the opportunity to safely observe these amazing creatures in their natural environment. Yeah, these giant 20.
Yeah, like you can just enjoy them in their natural environment. You really don't need to be playing these games. You feel me? Prank YouTubers mentioned, yeah.
Foot tall shrimp things that eat people.
Logan Paul would start filming the carcasses and corpses of freshly died of people who freshly are dead, you know? Is that a dead body? Yeah, exactly. With his Minions hat on or whatever it was. What was it? Was it Minions? Or was it something else?
People just don't panic and
Hi,
just
Lexi.
let
Hi,
them walk
Phoebe.
by
Hi,
your
Lexi.
camp. Which I
Hey, dog's
guess,
here.
like, their resistance to gunshots is mentioned earlier, but I guess that's all you can do. Also, not only mentioned here, but in other places, it seems all the creatures within the pit itself is blind, which makes sense because before we opened up the hole in
Yeah, before we opened up the hole, it was like completely enveloped in darkness because it was inside of the flesh pit itself. Before it technically was a pit because we didn't open it yet. So of course, a lot of them being blind and using like being shrouded in darkness would have them. Maybe a lot of them are also very pale too. Now that you think about it, because it kind of happens for deep sea creatures too. Like they're usually pale.
into the mouth of this thing, it was entirely underground, and everywhere throughout the pit is just pitch black.
Yeah.
So none of these creatures use eyesight. It's all sound and pheromone tracing. So
Yeah.
remember how just a second ago I said that the pit or park itself can eat you?
Yeah.
They know that can happen because it's happened. On one of the deeper trails through the park itself, you can come across something known as the circus clown chimus. The description of it reads as though it may look like a colorful ice cream birthday cake covered in a glazed frosting. This calcified formation is anything but festive.
This is how I would die. You're wondering what would get me in the flesh pit? This is it. It's rainbows. My brain is simple. You show me rainbows. That's it. I am stimulated and I'm ready to die.
In 1976, a group of performers accidentally fell into the upper maw of the entry orifice. While the soft flesh of the pit throat somewhat cushioned the performer's fall, the unexpected dilation of an epiglottal fold allowed them to slide down into a then unreinforced area of the pit. Rescue personnel were able to locate the performers inside a digestive sac a few hours later. But by that time, all 50 stunts people had already begun being digested by the pit. Rescue personnel cut them out, correctly guessing that many were still alive. An experimental antacid spray was discharged on top of the gooey, shrieking mound, but it was too late. Instead of reducing the acidic effects of the partially digested bodies of the performers, the experimental compound flash calcified into the multicolored formation that you see in front of you. Though haunting.
Oh, that's motherfuckers. Oh, that's motherfuckers. That mound is motherfuckers. Oh, God.
Beautiful, the circus clown chimus is a somber reminder of why it is always important to observe all safety instructions and to always stay on the marked trails while visiting the interior of the mystery flesh pit.
That's like if you took a clown car and put it in a big-ass blender. That's dark as hell. Don't ask why I had that imagery.
So, a group of clowns were performing above the flesh pit itself because people are going to be stupid. And then 50 of them fell into the pit, couldn't be located for hours, and when they did locate them, they were trapped inside of a digestive enzyme sac, a giant lysosome. And then when they cut them out, they were all melted together and screaming and shrieking, and then froze like that. And they just left it there. And then they had the audacity to call it hauntingly beautiful, which no, it's not. It's just haunting. But despite all of this, people still visit the park. And while reading this, at the first moment, I'm like, that's dumb.
People still visit the park, and also families visit the park. Because I have intentionally said families. So there's kids going.
They wouldn't. And then I thought for 3 seconds, and I'm like,
I'm not paying goddamn child support for one more goddamn year. I swear to God, bitch. One more month of this damn child support. I'm taking the kids to the park. Come on, kids.
Yeah, they probably would. So once Anodyne had the initial park opened up, or at least the central part of it, that's when the advertising began. Such as this poster for the park itself, which says, "Discover verdant forest, majestic scenery, and cosmic terror. Enjoy legendary trout fishing, geotonic carnal moans, broken philosophy, backcountry hiking, and camping." I love the broken philosophy because, yeah, where's your God now? A lot of the supplemental material you can read on your own is about how it was hard for businesses to at first sell the idea of the flesh pit because, people were reasonably afraid. So one of the things they did was they came up with this mascot called Caver Coop, who would do these animated sort of Looney Tune style films talking about going through the cave and why it's really not something to be afraid of.
Hey folks, welcome to the caves. Now you may be entering the belly of a beast, but my goodness, is it a rootin' tootin' time. We're gonna get our yippee-ki-yay hats on and get on in there. Now first let me tell you about the mascot Dopey. Dopey's a friendly friend who is also a representation of our fleshy caves. Like, hell no,
And a
bro.
sort of propaganda technique. And they would have several events, and some catered towards children, like Caver Coop's Spooky Halloween Carnival, where among mascot called Caver Coop, who would do these animated sort of Looney Tune style films talking about going through the cave and why it's really not something to be afraid of, in a sort of propaganda technique. And they would have several events, and some catered towards children, like Caver Coop's Spooky Halloween
I can't get over that.
where among
crazy.
the activities for children to perform is haunted hay rides, campfire stories, safe trick-or-treating, and blood.
I'm sorry. What does that mean? And what does blood mean? Blood was separate in this list. Why is it separated? What is that? It's just safe trick or treating, blood, corn maze, drink specials. What? Like, what does it mean? Maybe it means donating blood for a good cause. Which you should all should donate blood, by the way. You know what? Little side note. Someone like me, I have extreme anemia. I need blood transfusions and shit. People like you who donate blood, if you're able to donate blood, is a super helpful thing and saves lives. It literally has saved my life before when I went through extreme blood loss, and I was pretty much almost dead. I lost over half the blood in my body. Just, yeah, donating blood is super important. Now that I think about it, I just wanted to mention it really quickly. So if you can donate blood, do what you can. Super, super appreciated.
Reading and blood. Because if there's one thing this giant cave has a lot of,
It's blood.
it's interesting with these, a lot of the brutality that occurs behind the scenes, just for all of the happy sort of national park vibes that are put on the display. Like, for example, in one letter called Experiences of a Flesh Pit Mine Worker, a mine worker writes to a child telling them what it's like to work for Anodyne in the flesh pit, where essentially a full crew of people work outside of this giant mining rig that works as a boring machine cutting through the cave. And by cutting through, I don't mean in the way that like other things dig through rock. I mean quite literally it's hacking and slashing and there's blood everywhere.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
insane. In describing
Okay,
to
yeah.
the boy how the rig works, he says ideally the rig cuts as it goes, leaving a burnt cauterized path through the meat.
Oh, that's exactly what I was wondering. Because I'm like, if you're cutting through, it's going to keep bleeding. But obviously, if you're cauterizing it by applying extreme heat to it, it would able to section it off, so you wouldn't have to worry about the continuous flooding of blood.
While also crushing
Yeah.
and processing any
That's
minerals
smart.
it runs through. In the real world, the pit isn't uniform, and you end up running into all kinds of obstacles requiring interventional solutions,
Okay.
or the brass up top decide that they don't want you just cutting through certain parts of the anatomy. So you suit up and get out ahead of the rig to poke and prod and pry at a walking pace. 8 hours a day for weeks at a time. Rigs have a big hydraulic arms that reach forward and push, lift, and splay open organs or muscle bundles before us roustabouts.
All right, Timmy, are you going to be writing your letter to the guy who works at the national park? Yeah, Miss Johnson. I got a letter from him today. Oh, Jimmy, what does it say? or the brass up top decided that they don't want you cutting through certain parts of the anatomy. So you suit up, get out ahead of the rig, poke and pry the way walking pace, 8 hours a day for weeks at a time. Oh, is that all it says, Timmy? Here, why don't you tell me more about it? It sounds really interesting. Here, present it to the class, actually. Come on to the front. Oh, okay. Rigs have big hydraulic arms that reach forward and push, lift, and splay open organs or muscle bundles before us roustabouts would go in and suck up or hose out any blood, cut tendons, cauterize tissue, rinse and repeat. I have made a grave error, Timmy. Please go back to your seat, and I will give you all candy if we never talk about this again.
Would go in and suck up or hose out any
They're using
blood,
scoops
cut
for
tendons,
Five Nights at Freddy's.
cauterize
They're using
tissue,
scoops.
rinse, and repeat. So while you're thinking that whatever's going on may harm this creature, this thing is so big, it's the equivalent of having like a zit, basically. Everything that these people are doing. And as you can see from diagrams like this with the park trail engineer, some of the places inside of the pit are so tight or so inhospitable because you're in a giant immune system, basically, that you have to wear these full body suits and put these stents up everywhere that you...
We got Space Marines at home. We got Space Marines at home. Look at that. I made my Space Marine suit at Walmart. I don't got power armor. I just got this.
You go so that the muscles don't collapse in and crush you to death. And vehicles like the Park Ranger utility vehicle shows you what you need in order to traverse through this myriad of guts. Also, like a lot of these smaller touches that he puts into the world building, like for example, this necklace that was taken off of a mine worker that says, "A flesh pick worker's prayer. Each day I descend into the deep, cutting meat to earn my keep. Pray to my Father in heaven above that I return to those I love. If somehow death and I should
bars. Actual bars.
made as even the flesh pit needs to eat, I want my loved ones to be sure that in Jesus' arms I am secure." And it's an interesting way to combine these
W
West
bars
Texas vibes of which the pit itself takes place in with this horrific cosmic Lovecraftian horror that the authors built. And it is dangerous. You can see in several of the different designs that are posted on here, trail engineers, surveyors, and commercial mine technicians, all these need these massive spacesuits. And there's even special weapons shown, like the anatomical environment multi...
Oh, you can't tell me that looks like some fucking Space Marine shit, bro. There's no way you can look at that and not be like, this is like before they fully developed it into more Warhammer-esque, right? It's like the fully developed, like,
tool, or AEM, which was made to shoot spikes
AEM.
into
Oh, y'all
walls
know.
in
Okay,
order
never
to
mind.
hoist the walls of the cave so you can walk through it, but they later realized was really, really good at taking out these giant lobster things that attack the workers. So you may be asking, all these workers, all these miners, like, understandably it's a park, but what are they looking for?
And that is what we'll talk about in the next video, because I've been streaming for 7 hours and 40 minutes right now, and I'm just gonna end this video here. All right, stick around the channel for part 2. I might break this up into 3 parts because I talk a lot. That's a big part of my channel, is I treat my channel like half like a podcast, half as a reaction channel, half the time me dicking around. Okay, it's just a fun vibe. So I hope you stick around and subscribe for more daily uploads. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for your love and support always, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye! Don't forget to check out the original video, link to the description below.